It's your girl Rocki. Shout out Q Smitty at L.E.O Productions.
I'm glad that you decided to come through. You know, you've been doing your thing lately, been hustling with your music. Love on the Rocks EP is out. Hey, everybody out there, make sure you guys go cop that EP on Spotify, iTunes. It is dope.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere. It's all over the place, so you cannot miss this, all right? So, without further ado, who is Rocki?
Rocki is an artist that's born and raised from Birmingham, Alabama, that's been doing hip-hop, pop, R&B for about almost a decade now. Songwriter, just somebody that likes to make universal music. So that's who Rocki is.
Okay, cool. So you're originally from Birmingham, Alabama.
Right, yes.
Okay, talk to me about Birmingham culture. What makes Birmingham stand out in today's music industry?
I really can't say we stand out as much because we're not getting recognized as much as we should be because it's a lot of dope talent here. I personally feel like it's a combination between the artist's faults and the people who are in positions to help the artists. So I think it's everybody's fault. Like both parties play a part. Like the artists and the people that could actually put the artists in better positions. So.
Your grandmother named you Rocki because you were born prematurely and you suffered from different things as a child. Right. So with you, growing up with that type of situation, how did that affect you talent-wise and personally?
Well, I'll just say this. When I was born with mitral valve prolapse and a heart murmur. So it's just like, I also, like when I performed, I ended up developing like a hernia, and then I have asthma as well. So a lot of times I have to like stay conditioned, really. Like I have to stay in the gym because when I perform, I can't get overheated, or sometimes it's like that moment where I could be rehearsing or something and my heart skips a beat. But it's not painful or anything like that. And this is the first time I think I've ever spoke on it, but I mean, as an artist, you just have to push through. You know what I'm saying? I know my purpose in life, so I can't allow like small hiccups such as that to get to me or to stop me or slow me down. But it really hasn't affected me in a way where it's just like, oh, I can't perform. But it's something that I'm always conscious of because my health is important, And if I'm not healthy, I can't produce the music that needs to be, put out into the universe. So.
That's facts. So, as a child, did that, cause you any issues going to school and stuff that?
Asthma would be bad. I played sports growing up. Played basketball, ran track, was in the band. Just a backyard type of girl that wanted to hoop with the guys, with the boys, and So, I could remember like playing ball in middle school. And I remember just running down the court on a fast break, throwing it up for a layup. I don't even remember, I think I missed the layup, but what happened was the school that we were playing at had just redid their gym floor. So them fumes triggered something and caused my diaphragm to become weak. And so the fumes made me upchuck. In the middle of, I ran out of the door, in the middle of a play now on a fast break. You just throw the ball up and keep running, and they looking at me like, well, where are you going? But, as a kid, it's just those moments that were key in my life that made me want to stay healthy. Like, okay, what are the things that I need to do to stay healthy, stay fit? Because what I do requires a lot of energy. We might be on the stage, and just because we're not running laps, don't mean that you can't get winded, because singing, rapping, all that stuff comes from the diaphragm.
That's true.
So it comes from the stomach. So, I mean, that's just one of the key tools that I just remember as an artist to just stay healthy, stay fit.
It's L.E.O Productions. Hey.
Now I could tell you got some hooping skills, you know what I'm saying? But how did music come into play out of all of that?
Well, when I was in the 9th grade, I had friends that took me to the studio, and at that time, I'm like, why are we here? Like, what are we finna do? And I can remember them writing the rap and writing my lyrics too. And then we just like recorded it. Never heard the song ever again in life. But then I kind of like got introduced to it then, but then it stopped. Then I started writing like poetry. And in fact, I was writing poetry in middle school before I even had the opportunity to go in the studio when I was in the 9th grade. And then once I got to college, because I'm a barber, like that's what I do. I cut hair.
Okay.
So once I went to college, I ended up meeting this guy that needed a haircut, and he just so happened to know the producer, which is the same producer, engineer that I work with till this same day, you know. And he took me and introduced me to Brian Cook, which they call him B Flat, and we just started creating from there. And I took a loving and a liking into, you know, the art behind music. So that's how I really started. Like, started from basically poetry to experience in the studio, from that to cutting hair to running into somebody that introduced me into the person that has helped me like distinguish my sound today. So
Rocki versus Nala was your first project.
Yeah.
Did you accomplish the sound that you were trying to accomplish with that first project?
Yeah, in a sense I did, because when you think about it, Belvedere was on that project. And so that's one of the most popular songs to this day that I put out. Like, Belvedere is still being recognized. In fact, I think it made it to like, it's probably like in 18 different markets now as an independent artist. So I feel like my sound was there. Like, it was starting to happen already within the first project.
Okay. So fast forward into Love on the Rocks EP. What's the concept behind Love on the Rocks EP?
Well, the whole concept behind that particular project was basically like being an artist and trying to have like a personal life can be a little bit difficult. It can be very rocky, ironically.
Ironic.
So, I mean, at this point, it's like I'm at a point now in my career where it's just like I have to choose, like, okay, do I want to put my career on hold and try to just become one with someone, or do I be patient in that area and keep striving and staying focused? And sometimes you have to put your heart on ice until you get where you're going, you know, in your career. And then once you come back, you just take your heart off the ice, and then it's back warm again for somebody. So that's the concept behind Love on the Rocks.
Okay, so the EP itself is pretty much like a personal reflection.
It definitely.
Okay, let's talk about some of these songs on here. Talk to me about Mental.
Mental came from a point and a place where I was dealing with a guy, and it was just like I needed him to understand me and the things that I have to go through as an artist, and how time might be minimized, but when it's spent, let's, you know what I'm saying, cherish those moments. So Mental came from like a place of, I want this person to feel me mentally, like understand where I'm coming from, because what I'm doing isn't easy, but if I'm dedicating time to you and giving you, you know what I'm saying, time or whatnot, then honor that and be patient with me, you know, grow with me.
Well, talk to me about the song Practice.
It's very interesting because I got to a point while I was creating the whole project Love on the Rocks, and I wanted to do something very very different. And I was just like, well, I know I'm talking about the things that I'm experiencing personally on this project, but I know people want to know a little bit more about me and how I think intimately. So Practice, I figured it would be a good way to express how I feel or the things that I like intimately with a guy, comparing God to an instrument.
Okay.
So
honor that and be patient with me, you know, grow with me.
Damn, Q, you hella smooth.